This is the No BS Coaching Advice Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. I thought I would do a show today where I basically read an article I wrote for LinkedIn. I've tried doing it for Forbes.com as part of the Coaches Council there, but they wanted certain types of information from me, original sourcing rather than some of the secondary sourcing I referenced. So I wrote it for LinkedIn instead, and it's about men and basically the notion of playing by someone else's rules. And that's the title of the article I wrote. So if you want to do a search for it, it's men, playing by someone else's rules, if you prefer reading it there. And I'll simply say that for many years, the role of a man in the majority heterosexual culture was pretty simple. There was a division of labor, and his job was to sacrifice himself in order to provide for his family, help everyone else remain safe, even at the sacrifice of his life, and to be the head of the household. He was supposed to be tough and try to have sex with every woman he came into contact with. The rules were crystal clear. Yes, there were many exceptions to this programming, but there were messages transmitted to men. These were the messages that were basically transmitted to men. But for the last 25 years, I've spent a lot of time with men who are trying to figure out what it means to be a man in modern times. The fact that there is a question speaks to the confusion for many at a time where urban women's voices are becoming loud. And I quote, "Boys get worse grades than girls. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 35. Men also report significantly lower life satisfaction than women. According to statistics compiled by the Men's Health Forum, men make up 76% of all suicides, 95% of the prison population, and 73% of adults who go missing." So what does it mean to be a man in the 21st century? Robert Moore's mythopoetic model of king, warrior, magician, lover is being replaced with one where there are no rules for men, and they are struggling because without structure and without social meaning, many men are struggling through lives without purpose. This leaves many of them doing jobs and tasks that leave them isolated and disengaged, lonely for connection. And then we find out that society has abandoned, quote unquote, the good man. There is nothing interesting about or attention given to men who toil quietly behind the scenes doing what is necessary. Attention is given to train wrecks. As any parent knows, children seek attention any way they can get it. In some family systems, the attention comes from achievement. In others, it comes from quote-unquote bad behavior in its many forms. The other model that seems valued is the explorer, the one who sets out to build or create something new. In the 19th century, that evolved into robber barons. Today, we have people who create through technology and have created ideal railroads and highway systems. Most men do not aspire to be train wrecks or have the capacity to develop technology monoliths. So how does he find meaning without a familiar structure and framework? Complaining won't work, yet that seems to be the most familiar and socially acceptable mechanism for most. What does work? Sorting out answers with a trusted advisor, a coach, a mentor, or guide. Despite the devaluation of older men and women in our culture, a more experienced person can help sort through thoughts and ambitions and help them make progress. We are living in a time where men have a choice of living by someone else's rules or making their own choices. This is the time to begin reflection. This is the time to seek support, a trusted advisor, an ally, a coach to help you move the needle in your life. After all, a lifetime is not a long time. If you'd be interested in my coaching you, reach out to me through LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. mention that you listened to the podcast or read the article. I just like knowing that I'm helping folks. And once we're connected, message me. We'll set up a time for an initial discovery call where we'll talk about where you think you could use some help, and I'll see if I am someone who can help or should point you to someone else. So I hope you have a great day and take care.